Okay, so when you want to log into the SAP system, as I said, your admin will give you the client information, the username, and your password. Automatically, for my client right now, I'm using the client 910. I input my username and I input my password on the SAP system. Once I hit on enter, I go into the SAP Easy Access screen. But for someone who is just using the system for the first time, you need to input, the system will prompt you to put in a new password. So once you put in that password, then the system takes you to the Easy Access screen, which is actually the first screen on the SAP system. I would like to talk about, as you said, this is the menu bar. The menu bar shows major functions or major tabs that would always be on every transaction that you run on your SAP system. The next bar, which is the function bar, and entails majorly of the command field, creating a new section and creating shortcuts. I'll also talk about the customized local layout briefly. The customized local layout in this particular field or this particular icon, you can customize your system, or you can customize how the you can customize the look of your SAP system under this icon. You can also generate shortcuts from this icon. Okay, so let's try to generate a particular shortcut right now. So once I click on the local customized local layout, you see there's a set of options. That is options, clipboard, generate graphic, create shortcut. Once I click on create shortcut, it takes me to another window. Now in this window, you need to specify to the system what particular transaction code you want to input. So let's, for instance, if I want to input a transaction code that helps me make purchase requisition, I just need to input ME51N. Now on the command field, when you put in ME51N and you hit enter, the system automatically takes you to the purchase requisition transaction field. Okay, so let's just create a shortcut with this. I have my type transaction, okay, and I have the transaction as ME51N. All these other information are based on the server that you are dealing with at that point in time. So once I hit on finish, automatically the system tells me that it has saved a shortcut on my desktop. So anytime I come into the office, I don't always have to go through the drill down of typing in this transaction anymore. It will always be on my desktop. I can always use that to log into the system. Okay. I would also like you to know that on the SAP system, you can use command field to enter transaction code, which is putting in your transaction code in this command field. You can also drill down based on the menu path. Now, the several menu paths on the SAP system. For making a purchase order or for creating a purchase order, let's go through the menu path. I will show you how to go through the menu path, and I'll also show you how to input the transaction code. So for the logistics, we go through logistics under the SAP menu, go to logistics, go to material management, you go under purchasing, then you go under purchase order. you go on the create, drill down to create, then you can see the transaction code for creating a purchase order, ME21N. Once you click on this, automatically you are taken to another screen which shows create purchase order. This is what the purchase order screen of the SAP system looks like. In other words, if this transaction is actually, the transaction code for this is ME21N. I can create a new section by clicking on this icon. Once I click on this icon, it takes me to, I find, yeah, this is a new section now. Now I'm having two sections running at the same time on the SAP system. Okay, for the purpose of what we're doing, I will stick to using just one section. But I can create a new section using the create this icon, which creates a new section. I can go back to the Easy Access screen by putting a transaction code /n /n. Once I put a transaction code /n, I go back to the previous screen. Okay, can you see where we are coming from? Now, ME51N, I can easily put it in this command field, ME51N. Once I hit on enter, I can see my create purchase requisition. Let's go back to the format screen again, /n. The /n takes you to the previous, takes you back from a particular transaction into the SAP Easy Access screen. If I put in ME21N in this transaction code, in this transaction field, and I hit enter, the system takes me to the purchase order screen. So as I was trying to explain or educate, you can either go through the long process of the menu drilling down, that you to drill down to the transaction itself, or you can easily use the command field and input the transaction code. SAP has several transaction codes. You need to know them by heart in order for you to be able to work with them. But for every, once you're through with a particular transaction, if you open multiple sections on the system, I always educate that you close those sections. Once you're done with a particular section on the system, close the section in order for you not to run the system down, like in order for you not to slow the pace of the system. Because every section you open eats up the memory of the system. So once I put my /n, as I said, this is the command /n, which helps you to return back to the Easy Access screen. I can create, as I said, I can create new sections using this icon, and I can also generate shortcuts using this icon. If I need to generate a shortcut, let's say for instance, a shortcut for the ME for purchase order. So let's go back to the purchase order transaction, ME51N, and I hit enter. Now, oh sorry, ME. Oh, okay. Another thing I would like you to note: if you're in a particular transaction and you need to open another transaction on the same section, I can just input /n, then put in the transaction code ME21N. Now ME21N takes me to the purchase order transaction. ME51N takes me to the purchase requisition transaction. Okay, so I'm in the purchase requisition transaction right now, and I want to go back. I want the system to take me to the purchase order transaction. So I would just put in a /n, then type in the transaction code for purchase order. Once I click on enter, the system automatically takes me to the purchase order screen. On this screen now, I can always click on this icon to generate a shortcut on my desktop. So there is the difference between using the customized local layout and generating a shortcut from a particular transaction is that the system knows if I want to create a shortcut from this particular screen right now, the system automatically knows the transaction that I want to create. So in this case, I don't need to manually change the transaction code anymore. The system automatically knows that, okay, you want to create a shortcut for the purchase order screen on your desktop. So once I hit finish, I can see that shortcut has been created on my desktop. Okay. /n. The /n is a very important transaction that you need to note when you're working on the SAP system. It takes you in and out of different transactions and helps you navigate from one transaction to the next one. As I said, if you're in a particular transaction, let's go back into the purchase requisition transaction, ME21N. If I'm in this transaction and I fail to use the /n, and I just input ME21N, or sorry, ME51N, the system will, and I hit enter, the system will tell me, the system will automatically tell me that there's an error because you cannot input a transaction code while you are actually looking at another transaction. On the command field, you need to first of all put the /n, then specify the new transaction for which you want the system to take you to. So /n ME51N takes me back to the purchase requisition screen. So that is how to actually navigate between different screens or different sections on the SAP system. At this point, I'll be educating questions. If you have questions, you can always type them in and I'll be very open to respond to you. I didn't know Yeah, they are still looking on. Okay, they can see your own screen. Yeah. Okay, on your screen is a vector of what now? Yeah. Oh, okay. So that was my user coming. My user, yeah. I think the presentation is well. No.
Hello?
So we can only see the create PR and title. Can we see the people for the create PR? Okay, should I show that one? Okay, all right, as I talked or as I educated earlier, in order for there are two ways for you to enter into a transaction. You can either put in the transaction code in the command field, which is there. You can put the transaction code in the command field. For instance, ME51N, okay, which is the transaction code for purchase for precision. Once I hit enter, the SAP system takes me to that screen. Okay, but if I want to go back to the Easy Access screen right now. If I want to go to the drill down, I can go under SAP menu, click on drill down logistics, click on drill down material management, click on drill down purchasing. Now, since I'm going to a purchase requisition screen, I can see purchase order, purchase requisition. I can click on the drill down purchase requisition, and here you can see ME51N-3. So once I click on this, the system also takes me to that same screen, create purchase